I've been accused more than once of mixing up opinions and facts. The people who say this don't realize that it's effectively impossible because, as the anime pope, my opinions are facts. The entire world exists purely for my pleasure and enjoyment, and while that seems like a wild claim, I can prove it. This disc I'm holding in my hands right now is for a Nice America video game that releases on May 9th called Birthdays: The Beginning. Now, the game is a lot of fun, but that's not what you should be taking away from this. A video game called Birthdays is being released on May 9th, which is significant because May 9th is my birthday. There can be no clearer proof that the universe revolves around me. Math and astrophysics be damned. By the way, if you want to pay homage to me, your God King, on this most auspicious of days, you can do so by sending random crap to my P.O. box, or by sending me one of the things on my Amazon wishlist. I'll put links to both of those things in the doobly-doo. And also I'll put a link to my Discord server so that you can come by and sing my praises. Now, since today is my birthday, and thus the actual start of the new year, there is no better time for me to impart unto you the most important knowledge that I have at my disposal. What are the best anime openings of 2016? If you're not already familiar with how my other lists work, you should go watch my best OPs of all time list because it's great, and also you should know that for the sake of variety, I like to break these things down into categories and pick the best example out of each one, because that's how Cinefix does their movie lists, and those are some of the best things on YouTube. Kicking off this list at number 10, let's take a minute to appreciate those OPs that come at you with a very simple and straightforward message. Look at how cute these wives are! Cute girls doing cute things has become a genre unto itself, and it has a very specific style of opening to match. Moe openings showcase an array of adorable character shots and cute moments with one goal in mind: to make you fall in love with their principal cast. 2016 has given us plenty of great options to choose from. There's Sancha Sanyo, a new season of Hibike Euphonium, Bakon, and even though I'm loath to admit it, New Game. And if you'd prefer to know how cute a show's boys are, Cheer Danchi, Kiss Him Not Me, and Prince of Strides openings will serve you equally well. But don't watch Prince of Stride, it's terrible. These OPs can straddle other genres, emphasizing action and excitement like High School Fleet, or focusing on sports like Scorching Ping Pong Girls or Keijo, but the primary focus is always on the appeal of the characters. And while our winner, This Art Club Has a Problem, has its share of comedy, its most prominent feature is definitely the cuteness of its cast, especially this adorable little girl who can't get the timing right on this pointing motion, and the pudgy old man who's way too into jumping up and down. I haven't actually seen much of this show, and I've heard middling things about its quality, but this OP makes me want to give it a second chance. It's funny, not hilarious, but certainly good enough to make me giggle, and the girls are pretty adorable, and while I'm not as susceptible to that as some other anime YouTubers I know, I'm still a man, damn it. But what really sets this OP apart is the theme song, starting now, and the way that the visuals are timed to it. You don't often hear this sort of heavier pop rock instrumentation in these kinds of shows, and it's a refreshing change of pace. And this show makes great use of the hard guitar licks and drum beats that kick off the music, giving each character introduction a hell of an impact before diving into the meat of the OP. Everything bounces along to the music in a lively, energetic manner, from the camera as it checks out the club's embarrassed faculty supervisor to the title screen, which sees a new tube of paint appear in the background for every beat of the song. This use of dancing art supplies to match the music is reminiscent of the opening to Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, and I could also draw parallels with Mizuki's crush on the brilliant artist Subaru, but this OP marches to the beat of its own drums, so to speak, and it creates its own unique atmosphere in the process. This OP is fun, plain and simple. The theme song gets me banging my head whenever I hear it, and the visuals put a great big smile on my face whenever I see them. But it's not quite as good at that last part as the next spot on this list. At number 9, we're looking at openings that concern themselves primarily with setting the tone for a show. In this case, ones that aim to relax you and evoke lots of positive emotions. These OPs don't necessarily impart any deep, hidden truths about their shows, but they do tell you what you're in for: a damn good time. These are the openings that precede lighthearted comedies like Tanaka-kun is Always Listless, or Poco's Udon World, or offbeat dramas like like Fune wo Amu. They're mostly used to prime you for enjoying an Iyashikei or healing anime like Sweetness and Lightning or Flying Witch. And all of these shows would be good picks for this slot, but none of them put a smile on my face or fill my heart with warmth quite like Million Clouds, the opening to a Manchu. From a thematic standpoint, this opening, like the show it sets up, is pretty straightforward. It's all about the uplifting power of friendship and the liberating freedom of scuba diving, and it conveys both subjects with breathtaking beauty. The tempo of this song plays a big part in the positive emotional impact this OP delivers. It starts slow and quiet with just the singer's voice and a few chimes as accompaniment, playing on Futaba's shyness and sense of loneliness, an emotion that's emphasized especially well in the title card, which sees her tiny silhouette slowly swallowed up by the vast ocean and sky. But the friends she meets at her new school pull her out of this funk, especially Hikari with her vibrant smile and carefree attitude. As they join her one by one and start prepping for a dive, the tone of the song shifts from melancholic to nostalgic, and from there, once they hit the water, to uplifting and refreshing. It's a simple and not at all unique trick to match an upswing in action in an OP with the introduction of drums to a song, but it works especially well here, getting your heart to pound just a little harder and hitting you full force with the awe of the underwater world. There's a moment where it's at once beautiful and a little frightening as Futaba floats above a seemingly bottomless void, but then her friends pop in to reassure her and we see the true beauty of the ocean floor. Vibrant coral and schools of fish with the sun filtering down through the brilliant blue. Like Futaba, it's all we can do to simply take it in and smile. And then as quickly as this gorgeous world is introduced to us, it's gone. The year flashes by in a series of photos and we're left, along with Futaba, holding on to the memories and wishing that we could do it all again. Which is the unfortunate flip side of any experience worth having. Eventually, it has to come to an end. Which is a bit of a downer note to end on, but that little tinge of sadness makes it that much more beautiful, and despite it, we're left smiling and ready for our next adventure as we close out on a beautiful image of the two friends basking in the sun. A Manchu's OP leaves you full of good vibes, which is the perfect frame of mind to be in to enjoy the show. Our next OP leaves you with almost the exact opposite feeling, but it's equally perfect for the show in question. In our 8th place slot, we're celebrating the OPs that work to create a tense atmosphere, to put you on the edge of your seat and leave you asking questions. This can be done by creating a sense of pressing danger like you see in Re:Zero or Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, or by creating a sense of intrigue around characters and events like what's done in Rakugo Shinju or Joker Game. These OPs can break that tension by shifting into action sequences, something that we see in Soshin Shoujo Matoi and Bungo Stray Dogs, but they need to spend most of their runtime building it up. And out of all of these, it's a Cultic 9 with its torrent of horrific imagery that makes the strongest showing with its intro, Square of the Integer 3. I know you're all surprised not to see Rakugo take this, but I've got to give credit where it's due. With striking use of pattern fill animation reminiscent of Gankutsuo and snappy edits that leave you unsure of what it is exactly that you just saw, this OP is nothing if not attention grabbing. And once it sucks you in, it starts to unnerve you with disturbing imagery. Now, this isn't Higurashi, Shiki, or Paranoia Agent. It's not gonna fill you with a subtle sense of creeping dread in just a minute and a half. Instead, this OP aims to shock you with viscerally unpleasant sensations. And it's impressive how quickly it gets these across. The feeling of drowning, or suddenly losing your balance and falling. Combine these sensations with rapid-fire bursts of imagery associated with spooky Japanese folktales, urban legends, and classic horror stories, and then take away all of that sound and fury at once to end on this eerie shot of the moon, and the effect is chilling. But it's also exciting. It leaves you eager to see what happens next, even if, whatever that is, it's as likely to involve freaky eyeballs and spooky nonsense as it is to involve big titties and moe girls. Although this OP does have its share of those as well. There's plenty of goofiness here, especially in the first half of the OP, to assure you that the show mainly wants to have fun with all the freaky nonsense. This OP does a great job of drawing your eye where it wants, using color and in motion to make you focus intently on things like computer screens to the point where you don't notice other important details in the frame, and things that are right there all along seem like they're flitting by at the edges of your perception. Strong direction aside, I've got to give this OP props for having a ton of fun with how it presents its credits. The animation team does a great job of framing shots in a way that draws your eye to the titles, and of layering credits into the shots in such a way that they transition seamlessly with the motion on screen. It's really damn cool to look at, and you guys know that I'm a sucker for cool flourishes like that. And our 7th place entry comes from a series that's so good at those little flourishes that it deserves a category all of its own. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is kind of legendary for the quality of its openings. My analysis of the first 4 made this channel what it is today, and End of the World from Stardust Crusaders made the top spot on my 2015 list. And the fact that JoJo is placing so low on this list should tell you something about how great the selection of OPs is for this year. The entirety of JoJo Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, aired this year, so we've got 3 stellar openings to choose from. And I really wish they'd animate Part 7 already so I could turn that into a Love Train joke. Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town is a barrel of funky fun and has a lot more to it than you might initially think, as I explained in my analysis a few months back. And Chase is dark and exciting and full of mind-blowing little details, but they're both overshadowed by Great Days, even before it does that thing that JoJo OPs do when the main villain reveals their superpower. Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town has a catchy theme song, but it's a little lacking visually speaking, and Chase has a lot going on with its visual direction, but Chase itself is just like an okay rock song. Great Days, meanwhile, packs in a ton of references and foreshadowing while also having an incredibly infectious hook. It's the best of both worlds. But of course, what really pushes it over the top is how it changes once Killer Queen learns Bites the Dust. I don't know if it's quite as cool as having Dio show up to freeze time in End of the World, but seeing the entire OP run in reverse, giving new, darker meaning to each shot as Kira undoes everything that the heroes have accomplished, is still incredible. This change adds so many layers to an already great OP, and the animators paid such careful attention to detail that even going over it with a fine-toothed comb alongside Wooly, we still managed to miss some cool things, like how you can see Cheap Trick on Rohan's back in his shadow while he's sitting on the porch, or how Hayato's sadness is replaced with determination as the time loop starts. JoJo isn't the only series to change its OPs mid-season, of course, but few shows are as bold and exciting in how they do so. And again, that's far from all these OPs have to offer. They're extremely inventive in how they work in manga references, and they always do a great job of capturing the feel of any given arc of the story. Even after losing Kamikaze Doga's beautiful CG, they still look amazing, and they still do a brilliant job of getting you primed to watch some crazy, bizarre nonsense. That's also the purview of our number 6 spot, which celebrates the absurdity of great comedy openings. The major selling point for any comedy anime is going to be how hard it can make you laugh. That's the whole point, and a good comedy opening knows it. The purpose of a comedy opening is to convey a show's sense of humor and convince you that it will make you laugh harder than whatever else you could be watching at that moment. These OPs might try to create a sense of incongruity by taking their silly nonsense way too seriously. This is what you see in Dagashi Kashi, Shonen Maid, and Handa-kun, or they might simply hit you with a barrage of goofiness like www.working and Osomatsu-san, which very nearly made this list for the second year in a row. Or they could just repeat the same joke that's the driving force of the entire series over and over again, an approach that's surprisingly effective for Sakamoto Desuga. But first and foremost, these are sales pitches. With few exceptions, they're limited by how funny the series they're attached to is, and in 2016 there was nothing funnier than Konosuba. But even accounting for it having that leg up, its opening Fantastic Dreamer does a better job of capturing its series' humor and other appealing qualities than any other comedy opening this year. Well, except for maybe Sakamoto, but again, they really only had to get that one joke right. With its loose and lively animation, this OP nails the frenetic visual comedy of Konosuba. It's packed with hilarious facial expressions and blink-and-you-miss-em sight gags. I went over pretty much all of those when I analyzed it and the opening to Re:Zero back in the summer, which I'll link to in the cards and the doobly-doo. In short, though, Konosuba's OP is damn funny and filled with so many jokes that go by so quickly that, if you're paying attention, you'll find a new thing to laugh at every time you watch it. But that's not the only appeal of this OP. The theme song, Fantastic Dreamer by Machiko, is one of my favorite J-pop songs ever. It's an infectiously upbeat little number that both plays well with the comedy and manages to feel a little inspiring when it needs to as well. And it also has this fantastic official samba remix called the Monday Afternoon version that is just perfect easy listening, but I digress. The ability of this song to make you feel inspired is equally important to this opening because it also aims to capture Konosuba's other big selling point, its heart. The OP introduces you to Konosuba's wonderful fantasy world with these sweeping time-lapse shots of the dawn breaking over it, hitting you with a bit of beauty and wonder before the jokes even have a chance to start flying. And while its characters might be a little mean towards each other, it always makes sure to show them walking forward together, emphasizing their dysfunctional yet powerful friendship. It ends with them smiling at each other, followed by a triumphant montage of all of their friends and some unfortunate enemies looking happy and invigorated. The laughs draw us in, but the thing that has kept so many of us watching Konosuba for so long is a genuine, unironic affection for its characters and the world they inhabit. They're jerks, sure, but there are jerks, and we want to see them happy. This OP gets that, and so does the one for the second season, which I also analyzed and will link to below. And on top of all of that, the OP has some pretty impressive action animation to boot, though not nearly as impressive as our next entry, which you're gonna have to wait for. Man, that segue was so good too. I really wanted to get this out for my birthday, that is the start of the Thew year, but I started making it a little late and I've got some other projects on the go, so I had to split it into two parts. I'm sorry, but the second part will be available on Saturday, May 13th, unless I goof up real bad. If you want to catch that, be sure to subscribe to Mother's Basement and ring that notification bell. And if you're watching this once it's already out, then you can click right here to go right to it. Or if you're still waiting, you can click down here for my list of the best anime openings of all time. Now, normally this is where I'd sign out, but since we're only halfway through this video, I don't want to say bye to you guys just yet. Unless I'm saying bye ebooks from Bookwalker's store using the promo code BASEMENT for 600 yen off.